Welcome back to the BSD YouTube show, and it happened again. It happened again. Penn State just somehow does 3-5 season, nightmare season, whatever it is. Penn State will guarantee you this. We will be leading a top 5 team, and we will somehow choke it away. Jarrett, Tim, it just the pain of, I was saying as this game was ending, last week was bliss, right? We go into Ohio State, number 1 team. We have a little fun, right? 17-14 and a half. Haha. We're keeping it close, but we all knew, right? Thankfully, they put us at our misery quickly into the third quarter. In this game, they just hung around. Better team in the second half, and they take the lead and get a stop on defense. They have a third down. They pick it up. The game is over, and they can't get it. And Indiana somehow has catch after catch on that last drive, getting their foot down right along the sideline, and at the very end, I just can't believe it. Where do we go from here? How does this keep happening?
I mean, it was a great effort. There was actually a lot of positive takeaways from this game, I would say. Singleton looked like the best he's looked all season. This was
entire team.
This is half the offensive line. I thought this was the offensive line we were going to get all year with actually, just pushing people around, opening up holes, and we hadn't really seen too much of that. But yeah, it was just really it came down to a couple turnovers, a couple bad penalties, and it was a very, very obviously a very small margin where Indiana got a toe tap in for a touchdown with a few seconds left, with 36 seconds left, I believe. And, unfortunately, that's just what it came down to. And they just were able to pull it off.
I saw someone on the Lions 24/7 board making Angels in the outfield reference to that touchdown catch and I couldn't be more appropriate. I mean, geez, just the level of elevation he got to make that. I mean, you know what? I can't even be mad about that, Jared. That's just, he's got to tip your cap to the guy.
Yeah, it was an amazing play. And just
I completely disagree. I can be very mad about it. How physics, momentum, how does he not? That whole thing does not make sense.
And just the way he bent the bottom half of his body to be able to tap his toes in, it's almost improbable that you're like you said, it just defies the laws of physics, but that's the way the season's gone so far.
My dad would always weirdly complain that sports are rigged and that it's all not real. And I was like, okay, you're a crazy person. The man might have been onto something. I don't get how you have a 6'2", 200-pound safety tackling, pushing you out of bounds. How does your 1 foot come down like that? Somehow not graze any part of the grass, and your other foot comes down and just by that much.
And the wild part about that, I don't know if you noticed this in the first replay, it looked like for certain he was out of bounds. And they showed it from a second angle. You're like, oh, he's clearly in bounds. So you had that brief, 10 seconds to say, okay.
The way the crowd reacted to it.
It's going to be, because I'm sure that's the first one that they saw too. So of course you see that on the Jumbotron. You're thinking, okay, this is incomplete, easy incompletion. We're going to go to 4th down. But yeah, they show the other angle, and he's clearly in, and it's the story of the season.
I can't believe it, but yet this is such a familiar feeling. I just think that right. It's almost like when right, say you get in a fight or something, right? You go into a boxing tournament, like, okay, you're defending yourself. You're aware of that you can get punched in the face and you can potentially be knocked out. Doesn't mean you can still be knocked out, but at least you're aware of it. I had my guard completely down for the rest of the season and certainly in this game. And even when it was, at the end of the first half, I know, and we'll talk about all this stuff in depth, but right, people getting upset about, okay, they basically gifted Indiana that extra touchdown at the end. But it's like, okay, guys, who really cares? It doesn't matter. Like this, right? We're going to come out in the second half and we'll probably won't do anything good. And that's how it started, right? The interception that they threw, and Indiana gets a score, makes it 27. And this team just fought its way back into it. And you know what? Like what sucks the most is I'm watching it. I'm at a friend's house. That's why my background is a little bit different. As it was all going on before Penn State took the lead, I said how it reminded me of the Penn State Michigan game from 2021, where Penn State's having a bad season, but at that point, right, we were ranked number 4 at one point, had dropped all the way down. You get like a top, I think it was 3rd ranked Michigan or something like that. Penn State kind of just hangs around the entire game. One of those games at Michigan, they had control, but they can never pull away. And Penn State finds some magic with Arnold Ibiketti and Jahan Dotson. All of a sudden, they have a lead. They're up 21-17 with a couple minutes to go. And Michigan just finds a way to get a touchdown that kills you.
Yeah,
and that
was Kalen King ran into someone. I can't remember who it was.
Right, well, yeah.
Their tight end took off for a touchdown. So it's just one of those kind of fluky, we fought, had control of the game, and the other team just finds a way.
But that's what I said it felt like again. And it's like this, a lost season of sorts. And then Penn State goes up, but they got the stop. They originally got the stop that I thought that they need to get. It's like, okay, if we can get the ball back, I actually had like some hope that they could have got the first downs they needed. And they got that first down, just the way that the clock went and Cignetti taking the timeouts. It was like, okay, this is it. These 3 downs right here. And listen, it's easy to be the armchair quarterback and look at things in hindsight. And I understand why they didn't want to have Grunkmeyer really push it downfield. On 3rd and, what was it? 3rd and 10, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 8, whatever it was. And they do the play action pass. And you hope that Rappleyea just has some space or he's able to make a man miss and can get it. But I think my overall takeaway on this with Gronk in this offense was that anytime we tried to do the throw behind the line of scrimmage, not throw to the first down marker, we didn't have success. And shockingly, anytime we tried to push down ball, and I shouldn't say anytime we tried to push the ball downfield, but actually pushing it vertically, Gronk has an arm.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Very encouraging game from him. They had real success when they were trying to throw the ball downfield. So it's frustrating. One play away. I just can't believe it. Can't believe it.
Yeah, just I mean, Grant, I knew we were. I was after we had to punt away after feeling to run out the clock with first downs. I was sending out that gift from The Office, which Steve Carell's like, no doubt about it, I'm ready to be hurt again. I just kind of felt like it was coming. Like Fernando Mendoza's he had led 3 4-quarter comeback drives this season, and I'm thinking, well, you're giving this guy one last chance, and we had kind of a history of choking in these situations.
Yeah. And the drive started the sack too.
It started the sack. I'm like, oh, wait,
no timeouts. You're thinking,
No, we go, Jim Knowles, and I don't want to crap on him too much because defense actually played a overall hell of a game today.
Against a very good offense.
But man, I don't know what they went into the prevent defense too soon. Like right after that sack, they still needed to, bring some semblance of pressure. Like I don't know. You don't want to give Indiana huge chunks like that right off the bat. Like make them work a little more for it.
Yeah, no, Mendoza. So he finished with 218 yards, 80 of those coming on that last drive. And it's just funny how football works where a defense can basically hold down a passing game for the majority of the game. And then they just get into it's just like the mentality of not wanting to, right? You don't want someone to beat you over the top, which Indiana had at some point earlier in the game. So I understand in some sense, but man, even the play before the touchdown where I think it was King Matt comes in and smacks him, or I might be forgetting who. And Amari Campbell, if he doesn't stumble, if he keeps his
it went right up in the air. I was watching him fold, thinking, okay, here's an interception, game's over, and just couldn't keep his feet. And
how much did we need that win? And when I say we, I mean the team, but I mean like we as the fan base as well. Like
we needed some positive for the season.
It would have been a positive, real positive on what's been an otherwise disaster. So
just something to kind of rally behind, something to have a positive memory of this year. Because even if they do win out the rest of the way, which is a possibility, are we really going to feel much about looking back at wins over Michigan State or Nebraska without their quarterback or Rutgers at the end of the season? So this really would have been just a nice memory of just at least something positive coming out of this season. But
yeah, no, and this is like right. A lot of the talk of like, the beginning of James Franklin's tenure and people not happy with 10-2 and stuff like that. It's like winning these types of games matter. Like this idea that every game means the same, right? The 1-0 mantra. Like, again, I'm not doing this to bring up like James Franklin, but beating Indiana means more than beating Nebraska or Michigan State or Rutgers. Like yes, I would have been upset if Penn State won this game and then lost to Michigan State and Nebraska and Rutgers, but I would have traded those last 3 games for this win. Just give us this. Again, to even look at like from the player's perspective, like, dude, for Nick Singleton, Denai Denson, and Zane Duran, all these guys that came back, that it just hasn't worked out. Like beating the number 2 team at home in a good atmosphere. I was actually surprised how the crowd looked pretty good, all things considered.
Absolutely, yeah.
I thought it was going to certainly be under 90,000. Looked like it was, not a sellout, but pretty close to it. It just would have been such a cool moment. And same for Terry. And just the added factor of beating the number 2 team in, the first game at Beaver Stadium without James Franklin would have been funny. But instead, it turns out that you can fire the man. You can't fire the idea of the man. We still have that. Still somehow just...
The ghost of James Franklin was lingering.
What do you think? Do you think James was watching the game?
Probably.
Maybe he's like you guys seen Squid Game?
Yes. Well, first season I didn't watch.
Well, the front. It's like the front man just sitting back and this will be a bit of a sport. But sitting back and watching a bunch of people get killed in the red light, green light, and just sipping on his cognac like that. That might have been James Franklin watching the end of that game.
Where do we go from here? Do we want to go big picture? Or do we want to talk about individual performances? I think overall today for Gronk, like I said before, big positive. Prior to today, I mean, this was a tough 3-game stretch for him to go to Iowa, to then go to Ohio State, and then even Indiana at home.
That's about overall. About as tough as it can get for your first 3 starts of your career. Those 3 defenses, and 2 of them on the road as well.
Looked good today, right? When they gave him a chance. So I say gave him a chance. I do think that Gronk has a little bit of
Clifford.
Well, I don't know what you mean by that. That could be a compliment or not a compliment.
I mean, in terms of taking shots down, I don't know.
Well, no, I was going to say the opposite I'm not sure exactly what you mean. I'm more so saying I think that there was some hesitancy at times where he doesn't want to take the shot, which, again, it's tough for us to know without seeing the all-22 if guys are open, if guys aren't open. But as the game went along, it certainly seemed like right after halftime, Terry must have been like, Ethan, throw the ball downfield, because first play at halftime was a deep pass to Devontae Ross into what was basically double coverage, and then another pass that was behind Kyron Hudson that got intercepted. But I even tweeted this from BSC, good. I'm flat out 100% okay with that. At least show Indiana that we're not just going to dump the ball off every time, that you're going to take some chances down the field, that you're going to try to stretch them vertically. Because, hey, magically what happened in the second half is that the offense, everything else started looking better. Nick Singleton got some room, right?
Absolutely open things up.
Yeah, you make the defense play the whole field, and all of a sudden everything else kind of opens up a little bit. So, I mean, we'll see what happens with this team as far as, their mentality, right? How much they care, if they give up, et cetera, et cetera. But I think that today was a good step forward, all things considered, for them in general, but certainly for Gronk too, as they head into an easier stretch of Michigan State, Nebraska, without Dylan Raiola and Rutgers, 3 games that I think even at 75%, they could potentially, win out. So thoughts on Gronk? I don't want to hog the mic.
Yeah, I thought it was his best game by far in his career. I'm looking at the stat line: 22 of 31, 219 yards, a touchdown, had an interception in the second half. But at least he was taking a shot downfield and just happened to get tipped and picked up. Which, better that than just doing these stupid dink and dunk horizontal plays. We at least took some chances. So
no, it's been promising too to see him with each week. You can see him develop further and further.
Yeah, he's getting better
back from game to game in this 3-week stretch that he's been starting.
Absolutely, Jared. And so it gives me hope, some confidence that, now that, you're going into an easier 3-game stretch, Michigan State, Nebraska, Rutgers, maybe starting next week with Michigan State, he can really look solid out there and string together a few nice drives. And I guess, moving on to other guys, Nick Singleton, boy, where was that all season long? I mean,
finally got out of the gate.
It's great to see him finally have a big game like that, though. Had a hat trick, touchdowns, 2 of them on the ground, 1 catching, and that 59-yard run, which set up one of his touchdowns, man, felt like I had time warp back to 2024.
Haven't seen that forever.
Can't believe it got caught. First time I think I've ever seen it.
I thought he was going to take it to the house, but, but great game from him. Katron Allen obviously didn't have the best game today. But, they definitely try to, work him as much as possible. But yeah, man, Trevor Pena, finally looking more like the Trevor Pena we were expecting to see all season long, who was catching all his balls at Syracuse. Just 1 yard shy of a 100-yard receiving game. Had a 43-yarder.
I will say for Singleton, it is funny that we're saying he had a great game, and he certainly played well. But it's funny how 1 carry, right? He goes for 59 yards. His 9 other carries went for 12. So not like he had a ton of other big plays. I know he had the what we thought was the game-winning touchdown, but it is funny how Singleton is really tied to those 1 or 2 big runs that he gets a game, because other than the 59-yard run, he really, barely got past the line of scrimmage on a lot of his carries. But no, he's still a fun guy that you can get him into the open field, and he has the speed, and he certainly showed that. Man, where the game was won, lost, and again, I mentioned this a little bit earlier, but just the sequence before halftime where Penn State is sort of doing the in-between of running the clock down, but not really going for it either. And it's 3rd down, and Gronk tosses it off, despite the fact that it's 3rd and long to Katron Allen, who is about to get whacked by 2 Indiana guys. Basically no upside to dumping it off to Katron there. Like, Gronk would have been better to either throw the ball completely away or just fall down or to run it himself or whatever it might be, because you put Katron there, not to make excuses for Katron, but right, he's a guy that doesn't really fumble that often. I can't even remember the last time that he lost a fumble. That very well might have been his first fumble that he's lost at Penn State that I can remember. But that swings the game there, because if Penn State doesn't give that ball away right there, Indiana, I shouldn't say they probably don't score a touchdown, but right, a lot less likely to score a touchdown, and it's just a completely different game. And little did we know at the time. I think Penn State played pretty well in the first half, but I don't think any of us necessarily saw them sticking through in the second half the way they did. And then even the getting the ball back then after the Indiana touchdown and running it on 3rd and 1 with 9 seconds to go from your own 35. Like, what do we do?
Well, they had a couple of minutes left on that drive, and it was clearly they were just content going to halftime, down by 3, getting the ball back, or getting the ball first in the second half. And then all of a sudden, then they show a sense of urgency when there was 30 seconds left when they get the ball after the touchdown.
They run an out route on 2nd and 6 or 2nd and 5, thinking maybe we pick up the first down, that they don't, and they're just frustrating.
Yeah. And going back before that too, there was a drive where Indiana kicked a field goal, and Penn State had a what looked like a stop on 3rd down, and then they called a holding on
Collins.
Collins. Yes, it was on Collins. Yeah, and that was. I was a little surprised that the flag came out on that, and then even after the fumble, there was a pass interference on King Mack, which I thought was pretty questionable. So. It just kind of comes down to that turnover, a couple penalties, and, maybe Penn State would have been up by a couple scores late in the game, and that last drive wouldn't have even mattered. But
yeah, the Collins holding was very interesting, because I think, letter of the law, I won't argue the holding, but he really didn't even hold that much, because he still got completely burnt on the play. Like, if Mendoza doesn't get sacked,
it's not like it was like holding,
Yeah.
Or
if Mendoza doesn't get sacked, he has the native receiver open. So. That's how it goes, though. What do we? I know I talked a little bit about it earlier, but what did you guys think of the end of Penn State's second to last drive when they were trying to run it out? Right, they get the first down, and then it's it's 3 plays versus Indiana's 2 timeouts and the 2-minute warning. So, basically you get a first down. It's going to be curtains. What did you guys think of that play call, the play action, and then try to hit Rappleyea in the flat?
So I thought, okay, run the ball with pound Catron or whoever it was. They're trying to pound up the gut first down. Okay, fine. They stuffed it. That play to Rappleyea, that probably should have been the second down play call. At least, you can get yourself 5 yards, make it a third and manageable.
And stay in bounds.
You can, stay in bounds. Yeah, then you can also from there, you can either just try to do some kind of run play or maybe a short passing play. Your options are more. You get more options there. Something that, of course, that will make sure the clock keeps running. But I thought the play action call should have been the second down call. I think running up the gun on first down is fine, but doing it 2 downs in a row.
That was my big issue.
Kind of felt they got a little too conservative there.
At least run a counter or something outside.
Yeah, some kind of
off guard to give yourself more of a chance. It was almost like they were just like, well, we'll just make them take their timeouts and see if we can do anything on third down.
Yeah, play action, especially. Play action on third down when it's 3rd and 8 or 3rd and 9 or whatever it was. When Indiana has the 2-minute warnings, right? It's not even like maybe Penn State just wants to burn 40 seconds, right? It wasn't like there was a minute 55 and it's coming out of the 2-minute warning. It's like, okay, maybe Penn State just will run the ball, we'll take 40 seconds off the clock and give it back with a minute 10 left or something like that. The clock was going to stop no matter what. So it's pretty obvious, I think, that Penn State was going to throw the ball there. So again, I didn't hate the play call, but Tim, I do think that you're right that type of play probably works a little bit better on second down where you have Indiana completely thinking they're not going to throw it here. There's no way that they throw it here versus
third and 8 is an obvious passing situation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But that's again, and I know I keep saying again, but just kind of where they're at with Gronk, where for right or wrong, for whatever reason, they just don't fully trust him, which it's easy to say in hindsight now that, okay, maybe he should have been a little bit more aggressive on that third down and called something down the field, but just it's frustrating, man. It's just really annoying to have a 3-5 team and to stay in this game and to have the lead and to be that close and even opening the Indiana's last drive where Penn State gets a sack. And I know this probably doesn't actually mean anything, but the fact that Zane Durant and them were celebrating instead of getting back to the line of scrimmage and getting set, I know that probably is meaningless. But man, does it annoy me. Man, does it annoy me.
A lot of time left.
That's exactly. And I thought that was the other funny thing with Joel Klatt, which Gus Johnson, Joel Klatt, my God, I need a cigarette after listening to them all day. He was so hung up on the time, and he was even saying when it was 1st and goal for Mendoza that Indiana can't take a sack. There's plenty of time at this point. It's 1st and goal with
there's 48 seconds. I caught that too, and I looked at the clock.
Yeah, I'm like,
what's he talking
really? About? They can easily set up again, and
it gets a little uncomfortable, but you don't want to take it was just way too uncomfortable on the clock. So that was just the entire drive. It's like, dude, they have plenty of time. It's not even NFL where the clock just continuously runs after first down. They still stop the clock and get set and everything. By the way, why did maybe I just don't understand the rules. Indiana subbed, Penn State then tried to sub, and Indiana tried to snap the ball, and they just stopped it and just said, we're going to redo it. Why is that not delay game on Indiana or something?
Yeah, I thought that was at least going to be I thought that would be a false start.
I don't understand how that's not.
Yeah, I thought that was something. So just saying, okay, you can just snap it again here in a moment. We'll just take a beat and go ahead and snap it later. I'm kind of confused about that rule as well.
Yeah, not that it matters, but why? Right, say that the clock was technically. They got the first down, so it stopped for that. But otherwise, it's a running clock. So why could you not just do that at any point and try to hike the ball as soon as you sub, and then the rest would have to come and stop it and be and it starts on our whistle. It basically works at the fact.
Yeah. It's actually kind of a loophole where you can get an extra time out that way.
Yeah. Other question I have for you guys, which maybe you don't notice or don't. At the end of the game, Indiana goes off sides. Penn State gets a free play. It doesn't work to Kyron Hudson. If Penn State had declined the penalty, would Penn State have got the time back on the clock? I don't know the rules to that either. They accepted the penalty, so I understand why the time gets taken off the clock. But couldn't the defense just continually go off sides until there's no time left?
Yeah.
Although the games cannot end on a defensive penalty.
Yeah, but what I'm saying though is you can at least get it down
Yeah.
to 0 seconds, right? They
Mhm.
could have just going off sides
You
until
keep doing
there's 0
that, so you
seconds
can
left.
basically, yeah, totally.
Now,
I
it wouldn't
guess,
necessarily.
If Signetti had thought of that, like, but
Well,
of course, there's also the risk that Penn State could nail a big play and then that offsets the.
Well, it wouldn't have worked in this sense because Indiana also didn't want them to get in field goal position. I'm just saying, big picture wise, like it's almost like when Bielema back in the day when he was at Wisconsin just kept going. What was it? Offsides or illegal procedure?
Yeah, for halftime. Yeah, so they just had run 10 yards offsides, and so Penn State wouldn't have an extra 40 seconds or whatever to do something.
Again, perhaps I'm wrong, and I think if you decline it, that the clock it goes back to the original time. So who knows? But anyway, just something I thought about during the game because it's like, what if they just keep going off sides? Do we keep losing the time? Painful, man. Painful. Really, I know that like the defense. It is funny to think about this defense that if they get one more stop against Oregon, they get one more stop against Indiana, they get one more stop against UCLA, one more stop against Northwestern. Is Penn State the best 3-6 team in the country?
I think that's fair. Yeah, I don't know if that doesn't really mean anything at all, but sure. I like
Nebraska fans from a few years ago, like, oh, is Nebraska the best 3-9 team in the country? Like when they're continually losing these one possession games.
Scott Frost is the king of 3-9, 4-8. Other spin zone. So that's one spin zone. Penn State's best 3-6 team in the country, raise the banner. Other spin zone. Is it good juju that we didn't waste a top 5 victory on this season?
I don't think it.
I don't think it would have had any bearing.
I don't think it matters for the big picture for the future. I mean, even if we had won and we were all feeling, it'd be a great feel-good moment. Don't get me wrong. And what's been a disaster of a season, like we would have felt awesome for at least today. And it might have been one of those things you look back on, like kind of like how with 2012, 2013, you look back on the wins against Wisconsin and Michigan.
Yeah.
Like, big picture, they didn't really mean anything, but those just felt good at the moment. And it's cool to still, every now and then, I still may catch highlights of those on YouTube, especially when in the long off season, just as a nice memory of what was an otherwise kind of, unremarkable kind of season. Sure. I mean, of course, that was also, we're dealing with much bigger problems back then too with the sanctions. But I mean, this would have been like that too. It would have been like, you look back 5-10 years, like, oh, that was a cool win. And, that was a shitty year, of course, because we were started out number 2 and expected to compete for a national title and things fell apart. Franklin got fired, but it still that would have been one feel good moment of what was an otherwise like bad, horrible season. So big picture, no, this isn't going to, because again, whoever comes in, there's going to be a major roster overhaul, with the transfer portal and also on the coaching staff, whoever it is going to bring in mostly their guys. Maybe Terry Smith gets kept on, or perhaps another assistant or two, but it's going to be a completely different looking Penn State team than what we have this year. So long run, this isn't going to mean anything like for the future.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. I know what you're saying, that right, new staff, all that juju doesn't carry over, but you have to remember that I am a Penn State fan and I carry that juju as well. And I can only have so many good things happen to my sports teams. So anytime something good happens, I have to weigh it like, do I actually want this to happen or do I want to save it for later? Even though nothing good actually ends up happening. So I don't even have to worry about that because I should have millions in good juju in my bank account. And for some reason, I can't cash it. I cannot cash it. Any other thoughts on this game? It's a shame that they wasted again, I shouldn't say wasted a good defensive performance, but just painful loss, man. I don't know how we keep on doing
a couple
this.
Little things here and there, and Indiana was able to get it by an inch, basically. So
Yeah, just a bounce here, a foot, or really a foot here, a slip of the foot there, and maybe we're celebrating a win instead.
Yeah, we're incredibly close on several different occasions, celebrating a win right now, and Patrick not having a shirt on. But
you know what I was thinking, Jared? Were you thinking this too? When Campbell slipped on that, when Mendoza got hit as he threw, and it was basically there was that duck in the air which could have been picked, and Campbell of course slipped, so he couldn't get to it. But I had flashbacks to Amani Oruwariye against Michigan State, 2018. Had a game-winning interception, hit him right in the numbers.
Yes.
And a few plays later, Michigan State scores the winning touchdown.
Felton Davis. I can't even say his name without I just got chills down my spine. That still terrifies me.
I was getting shades of that. Like I'm thinking, oh boy, that was the chance. And like watch him score on one of these next two plays.
Charlie Becker. I'm shocked that Charlie Becker, the white Indiana receiver, I'm sorry that he didn't score the game-winning touchdown because talking about Felton Davis 2.0 coming into today, Charlie Becker had 7 receptions for 157 yards. Today he has 7 receptions for 118 yards.
Yeah.
And he's only playing because Elijah Surratt was out with I believe, a hamstring.
And it's not like he was just like a good system receiver where he's like getting open. Like he was like making all kinds of contested catches and just making really impressive catches all afternoon. So
that's just the difference between like an elite program and a good program and a great program or whatever you want to say. The fact that this guy, a true sophomore, just comes in, has barely played. They lose their All-American wide receiver, and he comes in and doesn't miss a beat and plays basically just as well.
And the last 3 seasons, have we had any receivers have a game like that?
No,
they're sophomore who's kind of buried in the depth chart is making these incredible plays all afternoon.
But we have makes one catch,
like
and
that
it's like
just kind of take over a game from the receiver position since I'm assuming it's Jahan Dotson, I believe, in 2022. Yeah.
No, if Charlie Becker was here, he wouldn't work and he would end his career at like UMass or something. But goes to Indiana, jumps in All-American, and it's no freaking worries. I got you. I'm gonna get the most ridiculous toe touch catch, totally be one-upped by my teammate who somehow defies the laws of gravity. Like, let's get Bill Nye, let's get Neil deGrasse Tyson, get all these scientists. Get into Beaver Stadium. I want that. I want it studied. That whole spot. Something is not right gravity wise with that spot in Beaver Stadium because he should have been out of bounds. Should have been out of bounds. Saki Wheatley also should have just carried him. He should have caught the player and carried him out of bounds. But I can't believe that we continue to do this. I can't believe it. Just tough game. Any other thoughts? Again, we don't have to keep repeating ourselves. I mean, I'm the only one repeating myself. You guys are actually doing a great job. I'm just rambling on. Any other thoughts?
I mean, it was a great effort. I mean, it was so close to just.
When did you guys think Penn State was going to win? I assume we all, at least at some point, like it wasn't until the King Mack interception that I was like, ooh, okay.
Yeah, I think I got my hopes up because I felt like we had the momentum and the defense was just stopping. And the thing that really made me feel good is the offensive line was actually like getting some push, and we had a running game that was just kind of chugging along. After Singleton's second touchdown, he made that nice touchdown reception where he had a couple really good cuts to score.
You made guys miss.
I think this is it. I think we have all the momentum. We're actually playing well on both sides of the ball, and I wasn't celebrating just because knowing the way the season has gone and how good Indiana's offense can be. But yeah, that definitely felt like a moment where it's like, wow, this is I don't say it's having the season turn around, but definitely having that one bright shining moment of this year we can at least look back on.
Yeah, I think when Matt got that interception and then Penn State, cashed that in for the go-ahead touchdown, I'm thinking, all right, let's go. I wasn't sure they were going to win there, but I thought, all right, let's get a stop here and then we'll see. And then we get a stop, we get the ball, we get a first down. I'm thinking, oh man, can we run this clock out? I definitely did not want to give Indiana one last shot on offense. But,
dude, the 2-minute timeout in college, it's some bullshit. Like, come on. What?
Well, it's because they adapted NFL style clock rules now for first downs, like, which they should get rid. I don't know why they even. Well, it's for to put more commercials in there.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Fox. Goodness gracious. They have never seen if there's ever a dead ball, they just jump the commercial real quick.
Exactly.
Do you know what? If they're gonna go with NFL, if they're gonna go full NFL clock rules, they should also stop. They should stop the clock when a guy goes out of bounds, like anytime in the game, not just like in the last 2 minutes of a half.
Don't give them any ideas that we might start getting guy goes out of bound commercial for like 30 seconds. You might be giving Fox execs some good ideas. If it weren't for greedy Fox executives, Penn State could have had that clock run down to 1 minute and 10 seconds. That's all I'm saying. Also, just crazy, this bizarre season that Penn State somehow never led against UCLA, but yet they had a lead against Indiana with under 40 seconds left and had a lead against Oregon in overtime. Just
it's just the season we just cannot make sense of, and it just kind of continues week by week. Just becomes more baffling.
Certainly does. What do we think of Indiana? We'll wrap up with that. I mean, I understand it's probably tough for us to be like, oh, really impressive because Penn State almost beat them. But
one of our commenters who I shared his comment with earlier, Scott Sadowski, was saying Indiana's luck will run out. Ohio State will roll them. I can definitely see Ohio State beating them in the Big Ten championship game. Not sure about rolling them necessarily, but they're a pretty good team. I mean, they're number 2 for a reason and undefeated. I mean, and
Mendoza's a guy. He's a
Mendoza. There's a reason Fernando Mendoza is a Heisman Trophy frontrunner, and he made another Heisman-worthy drive there at the end of the game. So you got to tip your hats to them. I mean, obviously, Kirsten Eddy, hell of a coach. That's a great staff he's got there. He's running a tremendous operation there in Bloomington. So, look, I think they can. Who knows in a playoff setting? But I'd be surprised if they're one and done in the playoffs. I think they can win a playoff game or maybe even 2.
They're definitely taking a big step from last year where
they're definitely better than last year.
Playoffs kind of on a weak schedule and got blown out when they played the 2 decent teams. So
no, they went on
to be able to hang in there and probably win a playoff game, maybe 2.
The win at Oregon changed my perception of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like going to Oregon and just
on the road. They didn't even have their best game either, and they still won.
No, but then I think Mendoza threw a pick 6 in that game too. But
he did.
He went right back downfield and led a touchdown drive. I mean, so this Indiana team's legit. But that being said, if it's them and Ohio State on a neutral field, I probably have to go with the Buckeyes.
Same.
I'll tell you what, Mendoza, I knew he was a decent athlete, but so many people talk about like pressures being more important than sacks. Dude, watch today because Mendoza got pressured plenty of times where he was able to keep the play alive.
At least when you're pressured, you're still on your feet. You can still make something happen, unlike a sack.
It seemed like he was just a tick faster than Penn State defenders is able to keep plays alive and make some plays. Do you guys know what the score of Oregon Iowa is right now, by the way?
No, pay attention.
It's 2-0 Oregon.
Okay, sounds like a typical game at Kinnick Stadium.
Oregon just becoming adopted to the Big Ten atmosphere. There was a safety involved, of course. So 2-0 Oregon.
Meanwhile, maybe a coaching candidate alert thing. Eli Drinkwitz's Missouri Tigers are down 7-0 after 1 quarter to Texas A&M. So if Missouri loses, they're probably out of the playoff picture entirely.
We'll see where things go on that front. All right. I think that's all we got. Thank you guys for joining. Did not expect this to be the recap show. I thought that I was done having my heart broken with this team. I didn't think it was possible, but they somehow found a way to give me hope and what has been a hopeless season. So
There's still 3 more weeks too, Patrick.
Yeah.
Well, thankfully, I'll be out of town running a marathon next Saturday, and I'll be busy enjoying the post-race after party with friends. So maybe I'll catch glimpses of the Michigan State game on my phone or something. But
Tim, don't brag that you have like a real life and come on.
This was one time I'm glad to have a life outside of my sports ball team.
Yeah, well, speak for yourself. I'll be here next week. I won't be on the post-game show, but I'll be watching next week like an idiot because this is the life I chose. All right, well, we'll see you guys in the middle of the week as we preview Michigan State and talk coaching search for the 7,000th time.